Hey everybody, I'm going to go ahead and start my video. How are you all doing? You can see that I've been messing around with my green screen. Can you all see that? How many of you have tried it? I know that Jen has. Have you tried it before? It takes a little bit of maneuvering. All you really need in back of you is something green, like a green piece of paper, poster board, a sheet, anything like that, and then you choose an image and put it up. But I'll tell you what, like if you're the wrong distance away, you get a lot of shadows. I have two lights here that are shining on me right now, and see what happens if I move my light. Like if my light's positioned in the wrong place. Makes me look kind of sinister. Hi, Jen. So
Hi.
I could use one more light, I think. We were just talking about whether or not you had tried this. I know,
Oh,
Jen,
the green screen.
the green screen, kind of cool,
Yeah,
huh?
I haven't tried it, but Jennifer and I were talking about it yesterday and how I need to go get some green fleece.
Yeah, green fleece or a green sheet or green something.
Now, what
Yes,
are you using?
I am using a green sheet.
Oh my gosh, it looks so cool.
Isn't that cool? And I was just showing everybody with the lighting, you have to have some lighting shining on you and not in back of you because you
Yeah.
get some weird shadows. And you also have to be not too close to the screen or too far away or you get some kind of jigglies. Did you find that too, Jen? Yes.
Yeah, I did. I had to play with it a little bit because there's a window behind me here, but I had a screen I kind of put up and flung some green fabric over. But yeah, once you figure out the position of it, it works. It's very easy to do once you upload those images that you have.
Yeah, it's very fun. And you can actually use your own pictures to do it. Did you use your own, Jen?
I didn't. I used the one from my class page when I did it because it was Mount Olympus and I haven't been there. So
Oh, right. There's that. Good. Well, one thing I do want to caution you is you also have to be aware of the copyright issues if you're using a picture in your background. So, okay, so we have a couple of things that I want to get through today. How are you all? Are you all preparing for your first class? Do you feel set? No, yes, no. You know, I was in Walmart the other day, and it's kind of one of my favorite. I'm going to share my screen. It's kind of one of my favorite times because they have all their school supplies out. Can you guys see my PowerPoint? Okay, cool. Um, Tell me this. What is your favorite school supply? There are so many. When I was a kid, it was a box of crayons. A brand new box of crayons is always so much fun. All kinds. Bic blue pens. Hmm. Whiteout. Awesome. Post-it notes. A colorful planner. You know, mine markers. Good. Mine are those notebooks that you can get that are like 10 for $1 this time of year. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I always get a big box of them. And I have notebooks upon notebooks, and nobody even really writes on paper anymore. But there's just something about a blank notebook that is really fun. So, have you bought school supplies for your kids? Have you all bought the books for your kids for their classes? Not yet. It's on my to-do list this week. Okay, so when you're getting ready to do your class here, let me pull this up here. A couple of things that you need to remember. First of all, I need to talk a little bit about the welcome letter. So I got a couple of emails this week with people saying, where's the welcome letter template? How can we send it? What are we going to do? The welcome letter that was due on Monday is now going to be due on Wednesday, and I'll tell you why. When we were inputting all of the information into PowerSchool, there is not one student email address that went in. So you could go in and you could send a letter to your classes right now, but it's unlikely that anybody's going to get it unless they've gone in and updated their contact information. So we'll be working on those. We have to input them one at a time, not like a mass import, one at a time over the weekend. And hopefully they'll all be done by Monday. And then I'll send you out a note that says you can send the welcome letter template. It's posted here. A couple of things that I want to show you though. I'm going to stop this screen share and I'm going to share a different screen. So you have access to a lot of information in PowerSchool. I don't know if you've had a chance to play with it yet. I'm going to pull this up so that you can see it. This is what it looks like in your Power Teacher. Tell me when you can see that. Got it? Okay, good. So this is a sample class that I put my own kids into and a couple of sample students just so I could see what it looks like. And if you pull this open, I feel like this is kind of a hidden thing. I don't know if they don't want you to know about it. Hang on a second here.
So Carrie, while that's pulling up,
Sure.
Can I just confirm with you, you mean Wednesday the 16th?
I mean Wednesday the 16th. Yep.
Okay.
All of them should be.
Write it down or I'm going to forget it.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll send out a reminder email too. Does this happen to you guys where it takes a minute to load? It's very frustrating, isn't it? Hang on, let me go back here. Pull it up again. We'll see if it works that time. Any other questions while we're waiting about this? Oh, come on. I could walk you through what you're going to do when you get there. You're going to go over to the Student tab, and you can actually try it on your own if you have that open. And when you have the Student tab, you're going to be able to pull up an individual student. Once you pull up an individual student, and I can do a little training on this, but once you pull up an individual student, you'll see their name across the top. And then next to it, to the right of their name, there's a tiny little drop-down arrow. And that drop-down arrow will give you lots of information about that student. So you want to look under demographics. And you'll be able to pull up not the student email address, unfortunately, but the parent email address. You'll be able to pull up the phone number. You'll be able to pull up the mailing address, all of those things there under the student. So is anybody doing that right now? Not yet.
I've got it up on another computer. So can you tell me again where you said to find that?
Yeah, so right over here where you have the students, click on students. And then you'll be able to click on one student's name. And then once you click on one student's name and open that student up, there's a little drop-down arrow. I think it's to the right of that student's name. And one of the things you'll be able to pull up is demographics. Can you see it, Jen? And I'll do a trading video on this too, since my screen is not pulling up at all.
Okay, I see. Do you mean okay, so I have the student up and you said drop down arrow, demographics. Yep, I'm with you.
Got it. Okay, good. So I'm going to close this out because this is not working and I want to show you one more thing. Now, when you go to send emails, you can do it through this PowerSchool, but you can only send an email to parents through PowerSchool. You can't send an email to students through PowerSchool. So you'll want to do all of your emailing to your students through Learning. And I've added a couple of things that you'll want to add, like on your class page. Here's a video that you'll want to add that tells them how to update their information in Learning, which if you remember right, it's at this little icon in the upper right of your screen. This is where they update their email information, where they update what notifications they'd like to get. So both of these things, both an image on logging in and a video for your students, can be posted to your page, and it'll make things a little bit easier for you, I believe, before classes start.
So Carrie, are we sending out two letters then, one through Learning and one through PowerSchool?
No, you're just sending the email out through Learning, the welcome letter out through Learning. I was just showing you that that is a place that you can also get parent contact information if you need it. But you don't need to do it in both places. Just Learning is fine. Okay, so I'm going to stop that share and pull the PowerPoint back up. Okay. So how many of you guys, I know I've talked to a couple of different people who have had ideas to have a welcome night or an open house for their classes. Have any of you put anything like that together? It's all something that you might want to take a look at. You don't have to do that at all. It's just a way for you to kind of welcome your students, welcome parents, answer questions about your syllabus or any kind of your, any of your techniques or expectations as a teacher. So before your first class, you might want to consider that. You guys are all veteran teachers here, so you know that you don't want to take up too much time that first class going through this is the classroom, here's the button, how you write on the whiteboard, all of those things. All of those things are really good icebreakers and kind of a get to know you, but if the kids in your class are taking 5 classes, then they hear that 5 different times and it gets to be a little bit old. A recording reminder, do y'all use this? Do you have something on your first slide that reminds you to start your recording? It's not a bad idea to do that, just because remember, if you don't have your class recorded, you have to re-record it without any students, and that really stinks. Recording it without students is terrible. And then a homework slide, if you have the same slide, you can just put your homework expectations in for the week and have it be your last slide. You can go over it with your students in class. How many people do like a who you are and what your expectations are? Do you do that in the beginning? Do you do anything kind of fun? Like, here is something about me that maybe you didn't know. Yeah. So when you do that, maybe put a couple pictures up of your family members, maybe put different things up that you like or that you dislike. It's kind of like that teacher spotlight page where it's not just you saying, I expect you to turn everything in on time, where more it's like, hey, guess what? Here's what you didn't know about me. So it's kind of a warm way for you to let your students know who you are. Because remember, your enthusiasm about the course is what's going to spread to them, to your students. They're going to get excited. If you're like super boring and you're talking in a monotone and it's not very fun to listen to, you got to remember that for kids, the expectation of their interest level is very low. And so pretty soon they're going to be looking around, pulling up Facebook, doing other things, adding to their to-do list. So you want to have like a warm kind of fun first class, because this is their initial impression. So I know we have a lot of actors in here and actresses. Can I have a couple of volunteers? Okay, Rhiannon, good. Another one? Jen, thank you. Jen Henriksen. Come on, Jen Henriksen. Okay, here's what I want to do. Rhiannon.
Jen T said she would do it.
Did you, Jen T? Okay, good. I didn't see you. Okay, excellent. Okay, so Rhiannon, first of all, I want you to read this statement to us, and I want you to read it as if you are an unapproachable sage. These are things that you don't want to be in your classroom. Go ahead and come on, Mike, and read it as an unapproachable sage.
Sorry, I couldn't find my microphone. I was covering it with the chat box.
Oh, that's all right.
The thing to realize now. Okay, so what am I reading?
You're reading the PowerPoint right there, the Welcome to My Class, where we'll be learning all year about everything related to.
It still says staff meeting,
It says
Carrie.
staff meeting.
You're not seeing that.
We're seeing your full screen.
It's staff meeting.
Oh, dear. So you're seeing everything, covering everything. All right, I'm going to stop that and try it again. Tell me if you see it now. Or do you see it?
Meeting.
You just need to advance it. You're
I
highlighting
did.
the wrong one. Oh,
No, I have it advanced. That's really weird. So are you seeing my full screen or are you seeing just the
yes.
PowerPoint?
Your full screen.
Huh. Okay, let's try it again. Now what?
Yay! There we
Yes.
go.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Here we go. I have to move my chat box so I can read this. Sorry. There we go. All right. Welcome to my class where we will be learning all year about everything related to English and language arts, things I'm just brilliant at. Please let me know if you have any questions, but you know, I'm sure I can answer them. I know everything.
Wonderful. And how does that make you feel about asking questions? Do you
Not
want
good.
to ask? No, not good. Not at all. Okay, Jen, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, you be the apathetic drone.
Oh, okay. Wow. Like, is there feedback I missed or something that you got?
That's awesome.
Welcome to my class where we will be learning all year about everything related to English. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Wonderful. Very good. Okay, now I need somebody to read it warmly and in an inviting way.
Oh, sure. Leave that for the next volunteer. Way to go, Rhiannon. We got put on the spot.
Anybody else? Sonia, want to try it?
I'll do it.
Okay, good.
Although I don't know if you want to hear my everything related to, but
Oh, yeah, right.
wait, I'm supposed to do it right?
You're supposed to do it the right way.
Okay. Welcome to my class where we'll be learning all year about everything related to veterinary medicine and animal science. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Very nice. Yay. Very good. Okay, so the other thing that I put up, I don't know what you all have shared about yourself. Type into the chat something interesting that you've shared about yourself in your classes before. Have y'all done that? One thing in the chat. Are you 6'4"? I did not know that. That's great. That's awesome. Good. Very nice. Pictures of your animals? Start with J. Very cool. So here is something that I have shared before. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but anywhere that I go, if I see a funny sign, I take a picture of it. So there were all kinds of funny signs when we went to China, and I'm going to show you a couple of them. You like that one at the top there? They were everywhere. Don't stand on the toilet seat, sit down, and please don't litter up. Just in case you're thinking about it, don't litter up. Isn't that great? Jewelry and the saxophone, excellent. Very nice. Okay. So one of the things that I just want to touch on is consistent communication. So here's something that I just want to throw out there. It's not something at all that you have to do, but I know that you all have some smaller classes. Most of you have some smaller classes. So with communication, since all of a sudden you're gone, you're teaching your class and all of a sudden, boom, you're gone. It's easy for a student to not feel connected in class to you because you're invisible. I mean, even those messages for their assignments and annotating come in when they don't know about it. They don't see you doing that. So with your course introduction, I'd like you to think about sending an email, like an individual email. So a lot of you know your students. A lot of you have had them before and they're here because they know you. So with that welcome email, maybe put something on the welcome email that is individual to that student. Like, I really enjoyed you when I had you in this class last year, or I'm so happy to see you. I know your brother, or something like that. So it's just something to consider, is not sending out a class email, but sending out an individual email. Now, when you when you use your communication, use your learning page. You can post so much on that learning page. You can post announcements, discussions, maybe some summary, like here's what we learned in the class, here's what our upcoming class is going to look like. Maybe even, you guys are amazing and you all got above 80% on the last quiz, things like that. Reminders, all of those things. Use them to the best capacity, because I think that it's really good for students to hear from you during the week. Do you usually do this already? Yes, no? Any other ideas that you have? Sonia, you're going to send emails actually in your class in learning. It's under, I can show you after we're done. Do you guys all do this? Do you send out like a little summary, or hey, hope everything's going on good this week, just a reminder that you have a quiz due tomorrow, or things like that? Not yet. Something that you might want to think about as far as communication, and you guys are all excellent about answering within, the 24 hours. Here's another idea, is if you have like a little news area that you can post on your class welcome page, or on the first page, or even on the weekly page. And it's a great way to communicate with the entire class. You can have reminders, an article that might relate to what you're doing. You can have a link to a video, any kind of personal news you can share, like, hey, my cow had its baby calf, Sonia. Things like that. So all of that big piece is that interaction, and I'd just like you to consider different ways that you can be doing that better, or doing that more, or making that more personal for your students. Okay. Let's see.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure, absolutely.
When you say use your learning page, you're talking about not Power Teacher Pro. You're talking about Power School Learning.
I'm talking about Power School Learning, which is what used to be Haiku. So use that class page. Okay, so that's where all our class pages are located. And like Sonia was asking, how do we send the emails? You're saying that we send those emails from Power School, we used to be Haiku Learning. Yes, and we used to, remember, not be able to have that functionality when we sent emails. We were not able to send email through Learning, even though that was the way it was set up. Now we have that functionality, and we have that all there. Do you want me to show you? Yeah, that's my next question, was can you show us how to do that? Yep, hang on just a second. Because I'm thinking I won't use Learning at all. I mean, wait a minute. Power School Pro. Yeah, I probably wouldn't use it at all either. You just do it all in Learning, and it all transfers over to Power Teacher, and then you're good. Okay, good.
Carrie, is there a workaround for that, though, at this point? Because I know I had a lot of individual communication with my students this semester, but it was great because when the end of the school day comes, I'm running boys everywhere, all day, every day, or all night. And so through my phone is my easiest means of communication. Have we found any easy way to get into there yet? No. So what you're talking about, let's say you send an email and somebody responds and it comes to your email, but you can't actually respond to them through your email without logging into Learning. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Is there a way to do it from my phone? Because otherwise that response time is not going to be, it's within the 24 hours, but it's not going to be as prompt as I would usually like to have it. There is not a workaround for that. I mean, you can log in on your phone, but I've tried it and it's not the best browser to use. It doesn't allow you the same capabilities as you would if you logged into your desktop. Okay. So, okay, hang on. Sharing my screen. Can you guys see this? Nod if you can see it. Okay, good. So you're going to go up here to Messages, Inbox, and you can see here's how you write a email to everybody. And there's a way to do it to just one student, or there's a way to do it for all students. And it's all right there. It saves it in the trash for you if you need to, and the replies are right there as well. Now, Carrie, didn't you tell us that if we send a message through Learning that it goes to the parents only?
Or did I
No.
miss for you?
No, right now, if you send a message to Learning, it probably goes to nobody because there are no student email addresses. But normally, after this weekend, when we get all of those student email addresses in, all of your communication will go to whatever students have on file. So it will go to student emails. Does that make sense? Okay.
So will it go to the parents too? Because we
It
just always
won't.
send it to the parents.
Nope, it will not go to the parents as well.
Okay. Do we need to send it to the parents?
You know, okay, so here's the cool thing about this is that when the parents can access PowerSchool, they're seeing everything that you've put into the learning part of PowerSchool. So they can set notifications. They can say, I want to know if my student doesn't turn something in on time, or if my student gets below a 70% on an assignment. So they're able to access all of those things in a different way, but your emails will not go to parents as well. Good questions.
So I know that with the younger students, most of their emails are their parents, which is fine if they put it in, it's going to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a few that would put in their students' emails, but they had no, if it wasn't going to the parent also, the parent was on the list also. So in what way do we inform parents that that's going to happen without it directly just going to the students and parents finding it 2 months into school?
You know, I think that's a great thing that we can send out as a letter to everybody, and I'm going to make a little note on that. Just saying what you can and can't access. Because some parents might even want their parent email in Learning so that they get all of those notifications, and some might not. Good point. Very good. Any other questions?
You were just flickering on your green screen. Was that because you leaned forward?
It was. So if I lean forward, it makes the background flicker a little bit more, and the
Yeah.
same as if I lean way back. I have to
Okay.
stay right in the middle.
What's your distance?
I am about 2 feet from my computer screen.
Okay. And how far is your back from you?
It's really close. It's probably 6 inches.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay, let me share my PowerPoint again.
May I ask a question about the Power Teacher logs? So when I know we're supposed to do everything in Learning, but
Yeah.
then am I supposed to set any sort of categories in the Power Teacher to make sure that they sync with what I've done in Learning, or is it automatically going to, whatever I've done in Learning, is that automatically going to be synced up with what's happening in
That's a good question. It's supposed to sync. Christine, I won't have you tell your long story about what's happening. Christine's having a little issue. So if you have an issue with anything syncing, let me know.
Okay.
But all of it is supposed to sync.
Okay.
And show up there. I maybe would just double check it. Yep, they're there, and everything's in there the way it's supposed to be, but everything should be done right in Learning.
Okay, my other question was about the notation. So for example, if I wanted, so we don't have any audit students.
You can
right
have audit students, actually. Yeah.
So we'll have an AU option, and then I saw that it looks like you said not to have excuse. So, or is that, did I misread that? I felt like somewhere that I read on best practices that you said not to use excused. Is that correct?
Do you, like a temporarily excused is fine. You probably won't want to have a normal excused.
Okay.
Because you want to keep the assignments the same for everybody and just put a 0 in there if they didn't turn it in.
Well, what we ran into a lot last semester was technical glitches. So I felt terrible when that happened. I'd have a kid say, I did everything, I hit send or whatever, I tried to put in the Dropbox and it erased, and I would have parents email me and tell me I watched them do it, whatever it was. So it was one of those situations where it's like, do I penalize this kid? Or can I excuse this? So what would you say would be the best practice with that?
I would say that I would still have them turn it in to you. Try it again. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't just excuse it and say, oh, well, you tried to and you're not going to get a grade. I'd say, well, if you get it to me by Thursday, try it again. And if you get it to me by Thursday, I'll still give you credit for it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so preparing slides. You all heard of death by PowerPoint, right? It's terrible. So a couple of things just to keep in mind, and you guys are all kind of old pros at this. You don't want to have too many ideas on a slide, especially for those younger kids. So sometimes I would only put up like a picture and then a phrase or a word, and then I talk about that. You don't want to read off your slides. You got to remember that, like we said before, they're opening Facebook, they're turning off their video, and they're on their phone. They're doing all kinds of stuff. So you want to make your text big. You want to have one idea per slide, lots of pictures. One of the things that I would suggest is using some frequent interaction break slides. So just put that up there, like pop up a question where they can answer that question on the whiteboard or come on mic, or pop up even like a silly picture that has nothing to do. You're going on and on and on about history, and then boom, kind of a silly picture to break things up, just to make sure that they're listening and keeping up with you and paying attention. What ideas have you guys used? I know you all have used excellent things to kind of break up the monotony of everybody listening to you teaching. Not that you're monotonous. I know you're not. But I'd love to hear what you're doing.
Carrie, I found that using the Zoom classroom this past semester and the ease of the camera and the microphone for students was huge, to be able to have discussions and just have someone pop on and be the focus for a moment, even if it's just answering questions or going through the slides, have them read the slide, just have something else there. But because of the ease of Zoom, that really was a tremendous impact, I found.
Good. Just like this, we can kind of go back and forth without having to give permission, take permission away, all of that. Good. That's an excellent idea. And especially with some of these smaller classes that you have, if you have less than or fewer than 15 students in your class, it's really easy to be able to do that. What else?
I always have label the slides kind of thing. I do that a lot. Like something I told them to learn last week, I'll just pop it up on the screen like a skeleton or, parts or pieces, or what's this and what's that match, what's the male neutered versus the intact male, and let them play with that. And I do that a lot.
Okay, good. I think that's excellent. Do you do that periodically throughout your class? Because now they're recommending that you don't talk for more than, or teachers, online teachers, not particularly you, don't talk for more than 10 minutes at a time before doing some kind of interactive break. Before it was 20 minutes. Do you remember that? And now it's 10 minutes. And I'm assuming that it's probably even a little bit less for younger kids.
I'm a big chat user. Like, I'm constantly interacting with my kids. I cannot teach and turn off the chat. Like Greg would always say, turn off the chat. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it unless I see my kids interacting with me the whole time. And so I'm constantly answering their questions from chat. But so tell me about the recording with Zoom. Does it not show the chat? Because I'm wondering if I need to start reading the
chat.
question.
The chat is actually in a different transcript, and it's saved separately. So it's not going to show up on the recording unless you post the chat with it. Normally with situations like this, though, it's pretty easy for you to kind of read as you go.
Right. I'm just going to have to make sure I'm reading what I'm answering because they're not going to see it.
Right. Good point. Yep.
Depending on your subject also, and there are some families who don't want their student will never be on camera, but it's great, again, with the ease of that, if there's something that you can say, here, I want you to start this, and then show it to me, and they can show you what their work. For art class, that works great, but we even did it with some of the English, things that they could just jump on. So they took a break for a minute, they would have their camera on so I could see what they were working on, and then jump back into a discussion type activity.
That's excellent. I love that. Even if it's just show me your notes that you took or your drawing that you just did. I love that. And it makes them realize that you're going to ask that at any point too. So they're actually taking notes and doing the drawings.
So you guys, how do we post the chat? I mean, do I just post the recording and no chat, or how do I post the chat to a recording?
How are you all doing that?
I didn't post chat at all. I just, if there was something relevant that came up in chat, I would repeat it so that people, or if I ended up speaking to a question that wasn't clear, I would, just voice that. So-and-so just asked this, and this is a great question. So, and that made it.
So it might be worthwhile mentioning in our parent night or in our first week of class that for the weeks that they're coming to us by recording, because I know I have at least 2 or 3 families that their kids are not attending live. They're only attending by recording.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to kind of, reduce.
That they're not going to see that.
Yeah. So if I mention it and like you said, Jen, just mention it out loud so they feel a little bit more drawn into the discussion since they aren't going to be able to see it at all.
Right.
That's
One
good.
thing that might work for you, Jen, too, with your larger numbers and your younger students is that as opposed to just utilizing chat, use your own student roster and let them know that you're going to be calling on specific people to answer. And that will keep them attentive. And it will also prevent, because I did run into, there was one class I had where there were a couple who were very comfortable with their microphone and they would jump in at any moment to tell me what they were thinking. And I really had to kind of start dealing with, okay, now wait until I ask, or let's let someone else answer the question, because they were all set to come on camera and mic. But that might work for you first for keeping them focused and getting your chat onto screen without it having to be in a text format.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like I always felt like Greg didn't like the chat. I personally always used the chat and always interacted with the chat, when we're going. But the thing that makes it difficult is when kids are watching the recording, because they're trying to watch and read through that scrolling chat all the time, and now you don't have that, which is kind of nice. Any other ideas?
I'm sure this is not novel at all, but I like to, whatever information sometimes we would cover in the previous class, sometimes I would do a little quiz with them instead of like just the icebreaker question. I do icebreaker games, but it would be educational, so that was a lot of fun. So we would, I'd put up some slides and just have them pick, A, B, C, or D and answer in the chat. And then we could talk about it and different things like that. So, but I think I'm kind of with the rest of you as I just, lots of questions, just constant back and forth, asking them questions, asking them what their thoughts are. I mean, we teach, teaching literature, that's easy because, you're constantly asking, well, what were your thoughts on this? So
that's great. Very nice. Very nice.
And breakout rooms in Zoom are super. The kids love it because they can see each other and have a conversation, and it doesn't have to take place in chat. So I used those a whole lot this spring, and it was tremendous just for the sense of camaraderie in the classroom and then being able to just really discuss things.
And have any of you experienced lag at all?
Mm-mm.
I have not experienced lag one time in Zoom.
I got bumped out once, and it does bump someone else into host that they actually have to then give you host permission back unless you close, if you can kind of close out the classroom. But I can't even remember that I could even do that. So
right.
Just for what it's worth, the host privilege is bumped to one of your students, and it was just very random. But that was only once all semester.
Good. Excellent. Very nice. Good. Okay, so I'm actually going to put up a discussion about this, those break slides, or how to stop every 10 minutes or so and kind of take an evaluation. And so I hope that you'll do that. Okay, couple of things that I need you to do. First of all, I need you to send your middle name to me because I'm doing background checks this week and I need your middle name. I have everybody's social security number. I have everybody's email. I just need your middle name. And then second is to send that welcome letter, but watch for the email from me first saying, here's a sample welcome letter. They're ready to go. So all the students should have email addresses in Learning. Third, watch for a paycheck email. So what happens is you're going to get an email from Susan Dahlem, and she's going to have a link for you to fill out all of the paperwork that you need to, including the information for DAWALA, which is what the direct deposits go through. So that'll be nice. It's all there. I've never had a problem getting a paycheck. It's all good. Consider further advertising, like any kind of blog that you do. Have any of you sent a blog? I know Rhiannon has. Has anybody else? Not yet. Where it's on the learning page. Jen. That's great. Post your week 1 page. Remember, I actually don't even think that you can have an assignment to do before week 1, because technically everything starts for all of our assignments and assessments and everything August 21st. So I don't think you can have anything due ahead of time, even if you wanted to. And then that video on your welcome page in Learning that is on our teacher page, post that for updating the contact information for students so that we have the most up-to-date contact information for all of the students. Okay, any questions?
Carrie, could you post a link to the teacher page for your classroom, like a block, so that when we try to get to staff meetings, it's easily found, so we don't have to copy and paste it from last month's calendar or your office hours? When we finally remember that's how to do it,
right?
That would be super to have that doorway to the staff room.
Okay, yeah, no problem at all. I sure can.
Jen, I was right there with you. I couldn't find my way in either.
Just so you know, it's my cell phone number. So if you have my cell number, that's my room. That's my room address. But I will put a link. Anything else?
Hey, Carrie, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm just trying to go through this gradebook thing. I feel like I've missed so much, so I'm trying to play catch up. But I finally figured out how to actually get my grade tab. And so I go in there, but there's nowhere to add a grade book. And when I go into all my assignments, it says the assignment has been added to the grade book, but I don't know where it is.
Okay, so do you have your grade book displayed right now or not?
No, I have no idea how to do that.
Okay, hang around afterward and I'll show you. I'll have you share your screen and I'll show you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, no problem. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming and getting ready, doing all the work that you're doing for week 1. It's only a week and a half away. So good job. Well done. Have a good week and let me know if you have any problems. All right, stay here if you need help and I'll turn off the recording.